So can you take us back to 2006? What inspired you to write Imagine That?
Okay, 2006 was a pretty good year for Styl-Plus because from the initial success of the Olufumi, Call My Name, Run Away, Stay Alive, EP that came out 2003. I enjoyed it through 2004, 2005. We were back in the studio again and we were recording the Expressions album.
And the creative process?
I think we were nearly done with the Expressions album and we hadn't quite decided what the solo promo was going to be like. The lead single we were going to promote the album with. So early one morning, as my routine was back then, I went for a jog, and while on the jog, the inspiration came. Imagine that, imagine that, imagine that, and the tune was in my head, so I couldn't wait to get back to the house to work on it. On getting to the house, after hitting some trees, I got on my keyboard, and back then, most of the things that we thought or that we felt was like our greatest fear was our girlfriends ever leaving us because we weren't quite doing enough. So, and that informed the direction of Imagine That. It could have been Imagine any other thing, but it was imagining heartbreak. Okay, so I worked on the chords, I worked on the progression and the mood of the song. So in getting to the studio that day to continue recording the album, I pitched the song to the guys and they loved it absolutely, and they were all excited. We hadn't quite gotten a dance track for Expressions album, so we decided to make it up-tempo, like make it an EDM song, which informed the reason it was like a techno-ish kind of music, but with an Afro twist to it. So Shifu worked on the verses because I brought the chorus and brought the chords. They worked on the verses, and then Zil worked on his bridge. And said, "Oh no, yeah." And I produced the song in collaboration with Mekoyo, and the synergy was amazing. It was totally mind blowing. The studio experience was very progressive. The atmosphere was good. We were all excited about the outcome of the song.
What were your sonic choices? What sounds or arrangements were you intentional about?
As a producer, my sonic choices were quite intentional because of the nature and the mood of the song. The chords were curated in such a manner that it encompassed everything about the song. So originally the song was written on A minor, but while recording we had to bump it up to C minor, which is also E major, to make it more lively, So, but going back to the original, because it was transposed to C minor, which was originally written as A minor. So let me break the chords down for you. It started with A minor, which is a sad chord. Then it went to E minor, which is a sympathetic chord in that particular progression. Then it goes to the F major chord, which is an uplifting chord, before going to the root, which is C major, and eventually going back to the sad chord, which is A minor. However, on the second run, instead of going down to E minor, it now went to C major again, with the left hand playing the G chord, the G note, which gives it a level of resolve, saying that okay, this is actually the action, to make things better. So it's a mixture of sad, sympathetic, upliftment, and resolve. Then furthermore, when it came to the melody of the chorus, Yoruba is a tritone language, and that's why we have the talking drum. You can actually talk with the drum, okay? So I make sure that anytime I'm writing Yoruba, I keep the intonation intact. I don't force this into a melody that is not within the Yoruba context. We have Yoruba, which is Do Re Mi. So I make sure that even as we sing Yoruba, it sounds like we are speaking it, because you can have different sounds in Yoruba, meaning the same word in Yoruba meaning different things because of the difference in sound. So it was quite intentional to choose those chords and then to choose those notes for the chorus.
Before Imagine That became a hit, what was the public and industry's original response to its release?
This is quite funny because people sleep on things they don't know yet. And there's a reason why I said that. This is the reason. After recording the song and we were still performing songs from the EP Olufumi, Call My Name, Runaway at shows, we introduced the song on a particular day at Rhythm Unplugged. I think that happened in Fantasyland, Lagos. So we introduced the song to them and to the audience, and we performed it. The crowd loved us. I think they loved the song, but they didn't quite react to it like we expected it to be. But on coming off the stage, Face of Plantation Boys, spoke to me and said, "Guys, this song, believe me, is going to be a hit. As in, that the song is crazy." Of course, we felt that before, and Face just confirmed it. And within you as an artist, you know when the song is going to be a hit somehow. You might be wrong, but sometimes you can't be right. I also remember we had a show with Boys to Men when they came to Nigeria, and after that we had the next day we went on an offshore beach to chill, and we decided to introduce it to some of the playlists that was being played in at the party. We played it, nobody reacted, and we're quite wondering why did it get the attention. However, when it was officially released and it was promoted, boom, it became a hit. And it tells me a lot about people not seeing what they are not looking for. Okay, you have to be intentional about what you do with your music. You can have absolutely good music, but people need to be able to attach a personality to it and an experience as well. So, but we knew it was going to be a good song. We just didn't know how far it was going to go.
So let's fast forward to 2025. You decided to create an acoustic version. What moved you to revisit Imagine That?
So, 2025, I bought the song again after going for a show and thought, let me revisit this song and do it the way it was originally thought of. Okay. In the original, so the difference between the original and the new one is the original was more of portraying the singer as the victim. Okay. I didn't get to correct that because I don't see myself as a victim anymore, but as someone who has overcome challenges and experience certain things which serve as lessons for me. So singing some lyrics like a girl thinking I was a loser, didn't quite sit well with me because you are what you say you are. Okay, so and originally the song was meant to be a slow song before we bumped it up to an EDM fast-paced song. Okay, so I wanted to retain the originality of the composition, and I took it back to the original key it was written on, which was A minor, and took it to the original speed as well, which is 105. Okay, and decided that since it's going to be a summary of the original, I was going to make it as minimalistic as possible, but as musical as the original, or possibly even more musical. So when it comes to she thought that I was such a loser, I had to change it to it turned out she was just a user. You get that way. I'm not the victim, but I'm in a position to actually understand the situation of the relationship, and which also informs why she had to go. So it's not on me that she had to go. She had to go based on her own convictions and not getting what she wanted from the relationship. We all know what we want from a relationship, and you can never tell what the next person wants. So you have to be sure that you both want the same thing. And when you both don't want the same thing, you gotta call it quits, absolutely, without trying to flog a dead horse.
So let's talk about your personal growth. How have you evolved, not just as a songwriter, but also as a producer since the original?
As with many other things, growth is imminent. You like it or not, you must grow. Nobody's growing any younger, and everybody's growing older. Even a day old baby is getting older. So they say, how old are you now? So, as a songwriter, I have evolved. I now believe so much in singing what you think or what you expect yourself to be. As a songwriter, I try as much as possible not to sing anything negative about my reality, because even though it's fictional, whatever it is you sing about is what you become. So I'm quite intentional about the content and the direction of my lyrics, and as a soloist, more as a solo artist or independent artist, I have the freedom, the creative freedom, to do whatever I want to do without necessarily being hindered or limited by a joint idea, because everybody has their expectations of life and the way they see themselves. Even in the scriptures it says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So I'm more intentional about what I say in my music. I try to be as positive as I can, at the same time being very real. Also, the speed at which I work with the tools available right now is mind-blowing. So growth is something I always embrace, and change as well. And for me, to be able to do that is to live life. Life is short. Do as much as you can now while you can, and then when you can't, you can sit back and look back on what you have done while others benefit from it.
So what does Imagine That represent to you now, both as a song and a milestone?
Imagine that, how old is Imagine That? By next year, Imagine That's going to be 20 years, and I'm very happy that it has survived that long. Okay, when we were making the music, we didn't think it was going to last this long, which tells me that whatever it is you do, put in your heart, put in your soul, and do it the best way you can. Leave the rest, and if favor shines on you, you realize that it stands the test of time. My advice for young songwriters and artists, producers, is that when you make music, try as much as possible to stay original. Everybody in this world is peculiar in their way. So trying to be somebody else is going to keep shifting for you. It's like those goalposts will keep shifting, because as you're trying to be that person is already moving on, and then you are going to be the old version of that person you're trying to copy. So my advice is, stay true to yourself. Surround yourself with people who will encourage you to be yourself, rather than change you or try to tell you to emulate somebody's personality which you are not. Making timeless music, or anything timeless at all, involves a strong character. And you have to put that character in what you do. That's what stands the test of time, just like character. You can pretend today, but you can't pretend every day. Be yourself. That's my advice.
If you had to describe yourself in one sentence as a creative force, what would that be?
One sentence to describe myself as a creative force. like to put it in 3 words here, which starts with truism, limitless, and freeform. Truism, limitless, freeform.